Welcome back, you guys. My name is Jessica, here with Suzanne Porsky of Phoenix Financial Group and, of course, Rochelle Harp of Harp CPA. Here's an important number for you to jot down, put in your phone right now, 918-890-8311, and the website, dimetodiamondsradio.com. If retirement has been keeping you up at night, if you've been glued to whatever news source watching this market volatility and wondering, oh my gosh, how is that going to impact me? What do I need to do? How do I protect my money? Well, here's the good news. You can go ahead and, put the Tums away. No more heartburn for you, right? All you have to do is call Suzanne and say, look, let's sit down and figure this plan out. I need a strategy. I need to know I'm protected. I need to know that I'm not going to wake up and everything's going to be gone. Very, very simple. 918-890-8311. I want to jump right back to it, guys. We talk a lot about a tool called rebalancing. But what does it really mean for your retirement portfolio? Here's Morningstar's Amy Arnott.
Rebalancing usually will involve selling assets that have gone up because they would be over your target levels and using those proceeds to buy into asset classes that have gone down. And why that can be difficult is sometimes if things are going up, people are reluctant to sell. And in fact, you could miss out on some gains if you sell for rebalancing purposes. So the purpose of rebalancing isn't necessarily to improve your returns, but really to control the risk level of your portfolio so that it doesn't drift too far away from your target levels.
All right. Well, she talks about, of course, risk here. And I think we all know that there's some risk in that type of investment. But believe it or not, there's an estimated 30% of those that are nearing retirement that have never rebalanced their 401k or IRAs. And listen, I even know that that's not what you need to be doing. I mean, 401ks, planning for retirement, IRAs, it's not a set it and forget it mentality, guys. This is something you have to stay on top of because otherwise you may have started maybe your 401k when you were, 30, 40, and then you haven't touched it in 20 years. Well, I just think of all the opportunities you've lost.
Yes, it's a bigger problem than most people realize. It's not because it's not rebalancing, it's a missed opportunity. Like you were saying, it's a risk multiplier. So what happens is this, over time, portfolios start to drift. So someone who thought they were maybe a moderate investor 5 years ago may now be heavily overexposed in the market without even realizing it, especially after a strong run. So that's when I'll have people bring in their 401k statements and I'll look at their pinwheel. And I'm like, do you know why you have so much of this one color? Like, what is it? Why is that going on? And that's where they don't. They said, you know what? I said it and I forget it. And there's not really anybody that talks to us about it. And so that's where I'm like, yeah, that's where you need to have a financial opinion, a financial professional, an advisor. Look at it, hear what your heart is, hear how life has changed since maybe you started working there, and then let's get that rebalanced. And it's usually just a couple of little tweaks that they have to make, and they can usually do that on their computer or on their phone.
Yeah, and I think there are three real problems that not rebalancing creates, right? So first, there's too much risk at the wrong time. So as you get closer and closer to retirement, you have less time to recover from a downturn. So if your portfolio is not balanced properly and the market drops, it can be harder than you might expect to be able to get back all of those gains.
Right. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had somebody that came in, right, Rochelle? And from the time they came in to have that conversation to the time they came back, they had lost $18,000. And they had no idea that they were that exposed to the volatility. And now we're working with $18,000 less as they're now getting into retirement, wanting to turn that into a paycheck.
Well, and we have these conversations a lot with people in general where we talk about time, right? So when you're younger, you have a lot of time. You have 30 years that it's going to sit there and it can bounce back. Right. But as you get older, we talk those different pieces. So then the second one is the sequence of returns on risk. So if you started taking income from an unbalanced portfolio during the downturn, you can permanently damage or decrease, and the market may recover later, but do you?
No, because they don't have the same purchasing power. So if they've taken their $3,000 or $3,500 out for that, their paycheck they've created, and it's the same day that we're in a downturn, that the market has taken, somebody said something or we bombed somewhere, then that's even that much more. So now you've lost $18,000 plus you've taken your $3,000. Now you've got that much less to rebound with. And that's why I preach that the sequence of returns once you're in retirement is crucial. You have to get that income stream from something that's much more reliable.
So you have a wonderful slide that is demonstrated in our seminar if people come to that dictates or shows how the sequence of returns really affects an individual in their retirement. And it's just a fabulous slide that is very simple and shows how that can negatively impact someone who is taking money out.
Right. It's two clients, same exact balance, except for I've taken those numbers and inverted it. So if the market did the exact opposite of what the one did, how they would turn out. And one client runs out of money at like the age of 78, and the other one has 2.6 million at the age of 90. I mean, it's just that important. We can't predict the market. They can't. That's why if you're getting near retirement, that's where you need to look at those assets. And if you haven't rebalanced in years, it's not about being off track. It just means that your portfolio, that 401k at work, possibly, it no longer matches the life that you're about to step into. So it's not a risk that you want to correct during retirement. Believe me, I've had enough clients that do that, and it's a lot more painful. They want to do it. Let's do it while you're still working. So let's talk. If you need another set of eyes on your retirement roadmap, call the number or get on the website. Let's talk. Let's sit down and see where you're at right now. I've had people, it's brought me a lot of joy over the years to say, you're ready to retire whenever you're done. You know, your numbers look great. Here's all the software. Here's all the stuff we've ran. You're going to actually have a better retirement than you ever thought possible. And this is why. And once they see that and they see their numbers and with what their idea of retirement should look like, yeah, game's on. They're excited.
And again, if you're interested in coming in for this retirement roadmap, very simple, guys, and it's complimentary to you listening today. First of all, you can always visit the website and schedule time to sit down and talk with Suzanne and the team. That's dimetodiamondsradio.com. Better yet, we have team members standing by right now. Give a call and set up your time to either come in the office or even a quick call with Suzanne as well. That phone number, 918-890-8311. That's 918-890-8311. Rochelle, you were going to tackle the next point.
Yeah, so our third issue that it can create is missed income alignment. So most portfolios are built for growth. They're not meant to distribute income. You know, we're all trying to accumulate things because we have 40 years that we're going to just get as much money as possible. So without the rebalancing, there's no intentional shift toward income producing or protecting your assets.
And then, like I've said, that you watch these portfolios drift because they aren't being micromanaged. And so we don't just rebalance with our clients, we reposition them. We align those assets with real income plans. We are reducing the unnecessary market exposure. And then, of course, coordinating with you the whole time, coordinating with the CPA so the moves are done tax efficiently. And we're being proactive. And you and I really, really preach that. Let's get you into a financial roadmap that is proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, it's one of those that focusing on portfolios that have drifted towards that higher risk and the different exposures during the downturns can really magnify the losses over time. And it's something that could be easily mitigated.
And another thing to point out here is, look, the truth is, if you just leave it to, a set it and forget it mentality here, portfolios, Suzanne and Rochelle, tell me if I'm wrong, they can get riskier without the clients even realizing it, right? I mean, as investments keep growing and they're unchecked, they can become a bigger share of the portfolio, possibly putting more risk out there. So here's the deal. It's kind of like Suzanne talked about here, creating a retirement roadmap that's proactive, not reactive, right? That is the key word, proactive. And if you're thinking right now, all right, I'm ready to kick things in gear here, or, oh my gosh, they're right, I haven't even looked at how I'm invested or how much risk I'm taking in my 401k, my IRA. I need to get this looked at. Go ahead and give a call today for this complimentary retirement roadmap. That's 918-890-8311, 918-890-8311.
So listeners, I'm talking to you. If you look at your statement and you're interested enough to open the envelope, on that 401k, and you kind of scratch in your head, I want to help you better understand it. Ladies, if this is you and you're going, oh, I think I'd rather go and have my teeth extracted, we need to talk, because I will take that knot in your gut away by just simply explaining what you have. We're going to talk and you're going to get a plan in place, and you'll have actionable items to start making a difference. And you might just be surprised. I've had a lot of people that think that they're a lot worse off. They think that they're going to have a certain dollar amount that's up in their head. And when I talk to them about their lifestyle, I'm like, are you planning on buying a jet? What are we doing? Why are you so worked up? Because it really isn't that complicated. I think when we don't understand something, we fear it. And that's where I like to make it understandable. And that's another thing when these clients, I was telling you this yesterday with that client that came in, and she's a totally different person from the first time I saw her. We met at a workshop. Then she scheduled an appointment. She came in. I'm not sure. It looked like she brought the filing cabinet in. She didn't have, she had a lot of stuff. Asked some questions, opened some stuff up, to yesterday when she's talking about RMDs, required minimum distributions, and her reaching her full retirement age. She's 73 years old, and she waited that long. And now, if anything, is just regretting not doing that sooner. And she gave me the biggest hug when she left and going, wow, this is such a huge relief. I now have more peace of mind than I've ever had on my finances. So it's just talking the language, because there's a couple of times I'd look at her in the weeks past when she'd come in, and I said, you didn't understand that, did you? And she's like, no. With my decades of experience, I can tell you that we will sit across that table, that conference table, and I will wait until you fully understand it. Not enough that you're going to need to repeat what I just told you on what an ETF is, but I want you to be able to have it palatable that you're going, okay, that landed. We will talk as often and as long as you want until you better understand it. So, and that's what I like to do when people come in with those 401k statements. Explain what mid-growth is, explain why they're where they're at, and then maybe talk to them about repositioning. Getting on their phone, they get on their phone or they get on their computer and they make little tweaks, better preparing that 401k plan for retirement.
And again, if you'd like to sit down and put these decades of experience that Suzanne has, put it to work for you. That phone number, 918-890-8311, 918-890-8311. The website, dimetodiamondsradio.com. Coming up in just a moment, they say guaranteed income is back. I'll explain what I mean in just a second.
The headlines about Social Security and the stock market are crazy. There's a lot of things you can't control about retirement, but there's one thing you can. You can call Suzanne Porsky at Phoenix Financial Group. Call for a no-cost, no-obligation meeting today, 918-890-8311 or at dimetodiamondsradio.com.
And we appreciate you listening today. Get this, Suzanne and her team at Phoenix Financial Group have a special invitation for you today. For the next 5 callers, they'll sit down with you personally and help create a custom retirement plan just for you. It's complimentary and there's no obligation. Just call 918-890-8311. That's 918-890-8311. And together with you, Suzanne and her team will look at your investments, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, show you how your life savings can create a dependable and sustainable income in retirement. Call today for your custom retirement plan, 918-890-8311. That's 918-890-8311. And visit us online at dimetodiamondsradio.com.
Welcome back. This is Dime to Diamonds with Suzanne Porsky of Phoenix Financial Group, Rochelle Harp of Harp CPA, and my name is Jessica. That phone number, 918-890-8311. Well, if you've been watching sports lately, you've probably seen a commercial for Pacific Life. You know, they're the ones with the whales, and it looks very nice on there. But Pac Life recently announced that annuities are back. Suzanne, Rochelle, what do you make of that?
Well, when I hear that they're back, my first thought is, well, they never left. They were just, I believe, completely misunderstood.
Yeah, and I mean, I actually agree with that because I am obviously in this world and have a lot of experience with it. And when you were talking about zero floors and different things like that, it threw me for a loop. And I had to spend a fair amount of time listening to you talk about it and asking you, well, I really need you to explain a little more technical side of it because it just didn't fully make sense that something could have a zero floor.
Right. Well, and what's changed with annuities is, and there are annuities that don't have zero floors. You've got variable annuities that have maybe a 10 or 20% floor, meaning that you could lose 10 or 20% of your balance. What I'm talking about and the products that I love and promote the most are with the zero floor, meaning you never participate in the downside of the market. When we talk about, when people say, oh, they're back, they've never been gone, but there was cruddy ones at one point. And, you know, I can't say that the cruddy ones are all gone away. I just know that it's like a vehicle. It just depends on what you're wanting to do. Like, so if you just want income, I had a lady yesterday, she wants income growth with no exposure to any downside of the market. That is one type of an annuity product. There's other people that want income structure. No, that's another type. They're not participating in the downside of the market. They've got an income. They have a 7% roll up, which I'm sure is a different language, which I can explain better at another time. The one I talk about the most that impacted my life is when my husband had his stroke in October. His has bells and whistles on it, where it has that if you can't do 2 out of the 6 ADLs, activities of daily living, they take the pension payment, the payment that we've created, $3,000 a month, and they double it. And they'll give it to you double every month or a one-time lump sum. So when he was still in ICU, got a letter from the doctor saying he couldn't do 2 out of 6, took that, sent it to the annuity company. They sent a $36,000 check. That allowed me then to pull him out of their care, put him in a rehab of my choice close to home, which is also a fantastic facility that insurance or otherwise would maybe not have sent him to. And then also bring him home sooner so he could have the flexibility of rehabbing at home. That's another type of annuity. So it just depends. It's like saying that maybe a mid-sized car is better or worse than a small car, or a van is better or worse. There's different annuity vehicles, and that's where we just have to have conversations. We've had a lot of volatility in our market. There's been rising inflation and a lot of uncertainty lately. That maybe is what's brought people back to something that they've always wanted in retirement, which is the stability, predictability, and income they can count on, is why the annuity conversations are picking up right now, I believe.
Yeah, and I think Pacific Life is right on a few key points. And the first one is that, the fear of loss is a real thing. It's kind of ironic because people aren't as worried about missing out on gains, but they are truly worried about what they might lose of the things that they've already built. So annuities, I think, are a big piece that can help with that. So being able to participate in the market on the upside, but not having that downside affect their nest egg.
Right, that downside exposure. Yeah, and second is annuities, like I have said, have really evolved. The old perception was give up control, lock your money up, and hope it works. Or it reminds me of when people are doing, the mortgages, the reverse mortgages, you're giving up the title of your home. That's what annuities used to be. That's not the case anymore. The first book I ever wrote actually had a whole chapter dedicated to annuities and educating people because they weren't understanding that they were giving up the rights to it. And it was more of a gamble, kind of like your pensions. If you do life only, you have a pension from work, you do life only. It is based solely on your life. So you were either going to live and you're going to be, that company is going to be paying you well past what you had in there. They're counting on that you're not going to live as long, and then they keep the difference because they've only agreed to pay for your life. So that's how annuities used to be. Now the strategies offer more flexibility, more transparency, and then the options for income growth and even long-term care features like I was talking about.
Yeah, and I then think the third piece is that guaranteed income matters more than ever. And as you mentioned, pensions used to be a very popular thing for companies, but most of those have gone away. My generation, I don't know that many of us have a pension or were even able to have that as an option. And then people are also living a lot longer than they used to, and Social Security just isn't enough to cover that. So the question kind of becomes is how does someone create a paycheck that they don't outlive?
Right. Okay, so I'm going to stop you here for a second because talking about pensions, when I first met my husband about 13 years ago, he had 4 pensions, and he is with IBEW, the local electric union. And I was like, that is amazing. You've got 4 pensions plus Social Security. Just a few months ago, we got a piece of mail that said that one of the pensions, they wanted to just get out of it. They were sending him a lump sum. I am talking to you. If you're listening to me right now and you're with IBEW, you've got that option that now they're going to send you a check. Instead of giving you that $600 a month for the rest of your life and maybe your spouse's life, they're going to send you a check for $100,000. I want you to stop what you're doing and call me right now, and I can help you navigate that. There is absolutely no cost ever to talk to Rochelle and I, whether it is for an hour or multiple appointments. We do not charge, but we can absolutely help you. So again, if you've got a pension that was you got the paperwork that said they're going to buy you out, they want you to tell them where to send the check. Don't take it and get all the taxes taken out of it. Let's get that working for you and set back up in some sort of a monthly income payment for you like you had thought you were going to get. That's what he did when he was like real excited about it. We've got four pensions. And then now he's like, oh gosh, what do we do with this lump sum? And I'm like, that's what I do.
Yeah. Well, and how many pages was that again?
99.
Oh gosh. And I'm sure it was in layman terms, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's guaranteed income matters more than ever. We're seeing that over and over now, especially with so much uncertainty in life. So here's the key. This is where we come in at Phoenix Financial Group. We don't lead with a product. We will always lead with a plan, and it always starts with you. Annuities are not the plan. They're just a tool inside of the plan. So how we use them is to create a reliable income for you, protect a portion of those assets from the market losses. We give the clients the confidence to invest the rest more strategically. We educate you, which I feel like people are empowered when I sit down and say, let's get on Charles Schwab and let's learn together.
Well, and as always, annuities can be helpful, but clients also have to understand that income will be taxed. Yep. And depending on what type of annuity payment, it might be taxed at different rates. So it's always important to consider the tax impact, whether it's IRA versus non-qualified, and then just making sure that that's a long-term efficient product.
And that's where I'm going to boast, because we work together seamlessly. You're the CPA. I know the structure. I'm not a tax person. I know the structure of everything, but then you're there to make it applicable and then really solidify that total plan. So I think that even brings them more peace of mind. So Jess, annuities are getting attention again, but I don't think the real story is if they're back or not. It's just that when used in the right way, in the right place, they can solve one of the biggest problems in retirement, which is turning that savings into income that they can't outlive. What is it that you want to do? Where are you at now? And what does a year from now look like? What does 5 years from now look like? What is the end goal? Because we're not going to live forever. So you're living this life. Are you thinking about how you want to leave to our loved ones? What does that look like for you? And some people, they kind of know, or they have wishes, but we kind of put those into paper, into action. What you say, Rochelle?
Yeah, I think it's one of those, as we've talked many times, we're always working towards our next goal, but at the end of the day, we don't always ask those tough questions of what is it that I would actually like to do and what is it that I would actually like to leave. And I think for most people, it's leaving, something behind for individuals, but not wanting to be a burden to them. And I think sometimes because people don't be proactive and plan, they do leave a big burden, a big mess behind.
Right. For their families. Mm-hmm. And they're already grieving the loss. And the worst part to me, actually, and I shouldn't say worse, but it's when, and for women, we don't want to be a burden, financial or otherwise. Like if something happens and there's a health issue, that needs to be talked about with your financial professional. Is that built in your plan? Like who you're going to have come over and help? I know we were just talking to a client on Monday, and her husband passed away, and we were relating because when my husband had his stroke, it was around the holiday that everything was freezing. I needed to winterize the pool. I needed to winterize the hose bibs, all that stuff. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I need to hire somebody. I'm going to admit I don't have the upper body strength. Nor do I have the patience or I just didn't want to go out there and freeze trying to winterize the pool. And then the men, whatever the woman's been doing when his wife passes away or she gets ill, it's that income that starts going out for the things that we do, whether it's cooking or
eating out a lot more is probably what happens, a fair amount. And
cleaning.
Yeah.
Laundry. Annuities are not the plan. They're just the tool, one of the many tools that's inside of a plan. And I know for us that we are using them to create a reliable income that makes sense, that they can totally count on to protect a portion of those assets from the market loss, market volatility, and then giving the clients the confidence because they have that stability, that foundation that they can invest in, rest in, being more strategic with that extra money. So a client had $329,000. She wanted $29,000 to just have in something that she felt comfortable if she needed to replace a roof or do some enhancements on the house. She wanted to take that $300,000 and turn it into reliable income. That to her was peace of mind. That to her is what she wanted to do. And I said, then that's what needs to happen. And I think that's where we're missing the conversations. When people are accumulating money, you're just thinking about that balance. And that's kind of how we started this whole segment off today. They're thinking about the balance. Now you've got to shift into, okay, how can I best most strategically plan to start working with this and using it? Because no matter what, whether you want to touch those IRA money, you have to when it comes to RMDs and the taxes. And that's where, we start talking, you and I, and looking at those portfolios. So, yes, I love annuities. I think they have a great place in everybody's plan. Are they for everybody? No. And like I said, there are so many different ones. You really need to be mindful of it. Get the education on it. Talk to your financial professional. We're here for you. If you want a second opinion, I've had a lot of ladies coming in these last couple of weeks that have been at church, got involved in something like an annuity, but the advisor is in another state and they're limited to talk to that person. They're not able to go in and sit down and spread all their mail out on the conference room table and have these real conversations. And so that's where we're reaching out saying, hey, here's our hand. Grab it. Bring your stuff in. We're not here to sell you anything. We put plans together. We don't sell products. We're here for you. We're local. You can come down, park. Hopefully you don't get to park right in front of our office because I really like when people get to walk and they get to shop. Some of the stuff is fun to look at, window shop, and then grab some pastries or chocolate or ice cream. Or they just came in yesterday, the office, the new chocolate shop. Doggone it, with their fresh homemade fudge and pretzel dipped. But yeah, so
nice.
Come in. Yes, but the Rose District in downtown Broken Arrow Main Street is absolutely fun this time of year. Come in and see us. Bring your statements in. We'd love to talk with you.
If you're looking to turn savings into income you can't outlive, give Suzanne and the team a call right now. 918-890-8311. 918-890-8311. The website, dimetodiamondsradio.com. That's going to do it for us. We appreciate you joining us here today. And, of course, we love hearing from our listeners. Give us a call. Tell us what you think. And, of course, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for listening. We love to share our knowledge, and we hope that you get something out of this. If you would, please go out and follow Rochelle Harp, CPA. If you are in the Broken Arrow area, you should be watching and looking for those next clues.
For the big egg. It's $1,000 egg. Yes, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Again, if you're local, if you want to come walk on down here on Main Street, we'd love to have you pop in for some fresh popcorn. I also want to say that Phoenix Financial Group, we went ahead and blessed a young Girl Scout with buying the rest of her cookies. I did not ask how many she had, so I was a proud recipient of 176 boxes. So everybody that comes in the office gets to pick their flavor of cookie that they like, or 2 or 4 boxes. I like the desk back, actually, that these cookies are on. So if you're in the area, stop in, say hi. We love to see our listeners, love to shake your hand, give you some fresh popcorn, maybe grab a box or 5 of Girl Scout cookies. And if we can answer any questions, we would love to do that too.
Phoenix Financial Group has a strategic partnership with Rochelle Harp at Harp Accounting, who can provide tax advice. The strategic partner herein is not employed by Phoenix Financial Group. Neither Phoenix Financial Group nor IPW are affiliated with Harp Accounting. Any and all other services offered by the Harp Accounting are not offered through or supervised by IPW. Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Phoenix Financial Group, LLC. Phoenix Financial Group, LLC is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Phoenix Financial Group, LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Phoenix Financial Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Phoenix Financial Group, LLC. This radio show is a paid placement.